welcome back to EH Deck Building. I am your host, Demo, and I got another deck tech here from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, and this time it's going to be Tatsunari Toad Rider. 2 and a black human ninja. 3/3. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, if you don't control a creature named Kimi, create Kimi, a legendary 3/3 black and green frog creature token with whenever you cast an enchantment spell, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Also has pay 1 and a hybrid Simic mana. Tatsunari Toad Rider, and target frog you control can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with flying or reach. So I really like the flavor of this card. I thought that was pretty interesting right out of the gate when I first talked about this. Obviously the idea here is you make the frog that he is then going to ride, and both become unblockable or hard to block. They're jumping really high, right? I really like the flavor there. So only flying or reach creatures can block. So you're doing enchantments and you have a commander that's sort of hard to block. I thought that was a little odd of a combination, but then I was chatting with a patron of mine and I thought, you know what? Auras are enchantments, so you really could go kind of a Voltron strategy here because you have a commander that's hard to block, and also you're putting auras on it, which is going to trigger that when an enchantment enters the battlefield ability. So that's the direction I decided to go here. I put a couple of my personal favorites in here, like one with Nature and Mark of Sakiko, right? Both want you to be connecting, right? That's going to be really important here. I think auras that we want to connect with are going to fit really, really nicely. We're going to get the trigger, obviously, and it's also really easy for us to get in for damage. So one with Nature will go get us a land, and Mark of Sakiko will add green mana equal to the amount of damage we've dealt that we can use on our second main phase. Curiosity, obviously, when we connect, we get to draw a card. Ancestral Mask is going to be a fantastic fit here. 2 and a green aura enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 for each other enchantment on the battlefield. Now, the interesting thing here is you actually have a couple of different targets. This isn't a traditional Voltron deck because Tatsunari Toad Rider and target frog you control can't be blocked. So are you going to put these on your commander? I think probably, because then you can get in for the commander damage. If you put them on the frog, that's not commander damage. You know, you could mix it up though, right? You could put some on the frog, some on your commander. So that makes it a little bit different than a traditional Voltron strategy, I think. Umbras, of course, are going to be great here. We don't want our commander or maybe even our frog getting removed. So I put probably almost all of the Umbras available in this deck. I really like Umbras. They typically have really usable abilities, and then also that preventing destroy scenario is the main reason why you're going to use them. Also, what works great here is these enchantments like Bident of Thassa and Coastal Piracy that, again, they're enchantments fitting that theme, but also fitting the theme of we're getting in for damage all the time. So now we can draw some cards. Ongoing Investigation will get us clue tokens when we connect. Nature's Will, another personal favorite of mine, will untap all of our lands when we connect. So these are all enchantments, and there's a lot more in the deck where it's fitting the enchantment theme, but also it is benefiting us when we're connecting. Of course, since we're doing a somewhat enchantment tribal deck here, we got to have some Enchantress effects. Enchantress's Presence and Idlewild Blossoms are pretty much the best options here because they themselves are enchantments, right? So we're going to get the Enchantress effect, but also they trigger our commander as well. Exquisite Blood, I mean, this is just a great card in a commander game all around, but extra good here. Again, it's an enchantment, so it's going to enter the battlefield, trigger our commander's ability, and whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. So now we're going to gain extra life every time we trigger our commander. I really like Hadana's Climb here. 1, a green and a blue legendary enchantment. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then if that creature has 3 or more counters on it, we can transform it. So again, it's an enchantment, so it's fitting that theme, also fitting the Voltron theme. When it transforms, it becomes Winged Temple of Araska, a legendary land that we can add 1 mana of any color, but also pay 1, a blue and a green, and tap. Target creature you control gains flying and gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is its power. Oath of the Ancient Wood is a really fantastic one, I think, in a theme where you are doing enchantments and also Voltron. You know, I don't know how often that happens, but where it does, this is a great fit. 2 and a green enchantment. Whenever Oath of Ancient Wood or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, you may put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So that's going to be happening a lot, right? Putting counters on our commander or the frog is going to be really helpful. Any constellation effect like Doomwake Giant is going to be be great here because, again, we're going to have lots of enchantments entering the battlefield, giving our opponents creatures -1/-1 until end of turn. Dense Canopy really works great here. 1 and a green enchantment from the original Kamigawa block. Creatures with flying can block only creatures with flying. Our commander is not going to have flying, neither is the frog. So this is going to make our commander and our frog creature unblockable, right? Because now those flying creatures can't block them. I guess creatures with reach can still block us. That would be the only addendum there. That doesn't happen very often, but this is going to make it really, really difficult for our commander to become blocked. And Seasons of the Growth, I think, is a fantastic fit here. Again, another enchantment. These are all enchantments that I'm talking about. They're going to trigger our commander. This one, when a creature enters the battlefield under our control, scry 1. That's pretty good. But more importantly, whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, you draw a card. And auras are going to be targeting, right? So anytime we cast that aura, it's going to be targeting our commander or frog or whoever. We're going to get a card draw off of it. So I think that's a great fit. I really like Eutropia, twice favored here. You know, as I was building this deck, I was thinking, man, this is really reminding me of the Eutropia deck that I built once. So I thought, man, that's got to be a fantastic fit, of course, because whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. That creature gains flying until end of turn. So it's going to fit the theme of, you know, we want to be getting in for damage, right? Whether it be with our commander or any other creatures in the deck, giving them flying is going to make them harder to block. Also gives that +1/+1 counter. Our commander's a ninja. So I thought Yuriko and Ingenious Infiltrator were great fits here. They're good fits for a couple of reasons, and you could go more of a ninja tribal here because I think it's interesting with the frog, right? You create the frog token if you don't have a frog in play. So what you can do is play an enchantment, create the frog, and then when you attack with it, you can ninja in, right? Because your commander and the frog, the Kimi, is hard to block, you can ninja in your Yuriko, for example, pick up the frog, right? You're going to pick up the token and then just play an enchantment again, and you're going to get the token right back again. So even though your commander is a ninja and doesn't have ninjutsu, I think the ninjutsu strategy actually does work here good. I put Yuriko and Ingenious Infiltrator in, though, particularly because whenever a ninja you control deals damage, right, they both have that trigger. So this works with our commander, right? If they're just sitting in play, our commander is still going to get that trigger when it connects. Smoke Shroud obviously is another perfect fit here as well. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has flying. Again, it's an aura. It's fitting everything we're doing, but whenever a ninja enters the battlefield under your control, you may return it from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to that creature. So again, that's our commander, right? Our commander's a ninja. When we play it, we can get this back out of the graveyard if it's in there. And also, as noted, we can throw some other frogs in here. So I got Froghemoth, I got Grolnok. I put the ones in that I thought fit. I thought you can go Frog Tribal. I think there's enough frogs and Saltite colors to go Frog Tribal. I don't think that's the best bet because I really like the drain effect with the enchantments, right? And you're not even going to get the frog token, the Kimi, unless you cast an enchantment. So I think you have to have a pretty heavy amount of enchantments in your deck in order to take advantage of that ability, and I don't want to lose it. So I don't want to go too much frog and get away from the enchantments because we're already making a frog that we can make unblockable. But Froghemoth and Grolnok, again, are perfect fits here because Froghemoth, when it deals combat damage, is going to exile up to that many cards from that player's graveyard, and you're going to put a +1/+1 counter on it for each creature card exiled this way and gain 1 life for each non-creature card exiled this way. So again, it is a frog. We can make this, we can give it that hard to block ability of our commanders if we want to, and Grolnok as well. Whenever a frog you control attacks, mill 3 cards, right? It doesn't have to be Grolnok. It can be the token that we're making. The milling doesn't fit super well here, but this is just a great card advantage card, right? Whenever a permanent is put into your graveyard from your library, you exile it with a crow counter on it. So now every time we attack with Grolnok or the token, we get to mill 3 cards, and we can play land cards and cast spells from among those cards exiled with crow counters on them. So just great card advantage. Also, Yargle. Again, I just think this is an actual good fit. It's a fun card to put in the deck. It's a 5 mana, 9/3 frog spirit. It fits with what we're doing, right? This is a great creature to make unblockable, right? So we throw some of our auras on this. It's going to be a real big beater that our opponents are only going to be able to block with a creature that has flying or reach. So I think it's actually a great fit here. And For flavor, I got Frogify in here as well. This is actually a good fit though, right? It is an aura. This is another direction we can go with this where we're casting auras on our opponent's creatures. And we also should have a couple of backup creatures, I think. I got Invisible Stalker and Storm Surge Kraken in here. Just great creatures, you know, that Boggles sort of scenario. That's sort of the theme we're in here a little bit, is the Boggles. I want to put auras onto my creatures that are hard to kill. So these are two creatures with hexproof, also hard to block, right? Invisible Stalker can't be blocked at all, and Storm Surge Kraken is just a really underrated card, I think, that doesn't see enough play. It has that Lieutenant ability. If we have our commander in play, it gets +2/+2 and has whenever Storm Surge Kraken becomes blocked, we get to draw 2 cards. It's already a 5/5, so that means it's going to be a 7/7 with hexproof if our commander's in play. If our opponents don't block it, they're going to take a ton of damage, and also we'll probably get some triggers off of some of the enchantments we have in play. If they do block it, we get to draw 2 cards. This is all upside, so just a fantastic fit in this deck. And a really great commander. You know, it was one that if you watch the spoiler video I did on it, I wasn't super high on it because I thought the two abilities didn't really play into each other that much, but the aura theme I think really works here with this commander. So the deck list for this guy is in the description below. Check it out. Have some fun with it if you want to. And if you like the way I build decks, I have a Patreon where I do deck doctor videos for my patrons, and I also do patron deck techs. So you can come join my Patreon. The link for that is in the description as well. But that is it for today, and thanks for tuning in.